People versus Nicole Linton, case number BA 507936. Counsel, could I have your appearances again?
Thank you, Your Honor. Halim Damadina on behalf of Ms. Linton, who's present in custody.
Jacqueline Scarani on behalf of Ms. Linton. And Brittany and I have good afternoon.
Thank you very much. And counsel, does Ms. Linton waive reading of the complaint and statement of statutory and constitutional rights?
Your Honor, this time we are asking the court to continue the arraignment. We have not yet received any discovery from the prosecution, and our investigation has given us cause to initiate further investigation into some profound mental health issues, that many of which occurred out of state. And so we're asking the court to continue the arraignment to October the 26th so that the defense can adequately prepare that investigation and review the discovery and enter a legally appropriate plea at that time.
Thank you. Ms. Vanoy, do you have any objection to the requested continuance?
I do not, Your Honor.
All right, so October 26th was the requested date.
Yes, thank you.
The court will continue the arraignment to October 26th of 2022 at 8:30 here in Department 30. With respect to custody status, could I hear the people's position?
Yes, Your Honor. The people are requesting that the court set a no bail on this case due to the defendant's risk of flight and the significant danger to the public.
If you could speak up, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Based on the defendant's flight risk and danger to the public.
And could you be more specific and provide the nature of the charges?
Yes, Your Honor. The defendant currently stands charged with 6 counts of murder as well as 5 accompanying counts of gross vehicular manslaughter, charged in the alternative. The defendant is accused of committing these murders while traveling at an excessive speed. Visual estimations based on video of the incident range between 80 and 100 miles per hour through a busy intersection at about 1:30 or 1:40 in the afternoon on a Thursday. The defendant proceeded through an intersection at Slauson and La Brea at those speeds, despite being faced with a red light for approximately 9 seconds. The defendant proceeded through the intersection and struck numerous vehicles. In total, between 5 and 8 vehicles were involved in the collision. Obviously, as the charges show, 6 individuals lost their life as a result of the defendant's acts. In addition, there are 7 other individuals who also sustained minor injuries as a result. The defendant is an out-of-state nurse. She does not have a California driver's license. It's our understanding that she is renting a local room. She has a state license out of the state of Texas. It is reported that she has been a traveling nurse for some time. She has numerous contacts out of state, including a number of prior collisions throughout the United States that the people are looking into. We also are aware of some future travel plans that she indicated she has. So the people are concerned she may be a flight risk, in addition to the fact that she may continue to pose a serious danger to the community.
And does she have a criminal record?
She is not, Your Honor, that the people are currently aware of.
And the prior collisions you're referencing?
Yes, Your Honor. We are still obtaining further information regarding those. The most recent of which we are aware is a 2020 collision in which 2 vehicles were totaled and there was bodily injury. Her statements indicate that she went through a defensive driving course shortly after that, and so the people are concerned about a history of dangerous driving.
Did she have a driver's license at the time of these charges?
Not in the state of California. The validity of the Texas license, I'm actually not positive, Your Honor.
All right, and in terms of the flight risk, your concern there?
Yes, the fact that the defendant does not have a permanent residence within the county of Los Angeles or the state of California. Her permanent residence, as listed by her, is in the state of Texas. Her job is a traveling job. She indicates she has future travel plans to the state of Hawaii for her career. And has numerous contacts throughout the United States.
And you're requesting no bail as opposed to the scheduled bail. And can you indicate why?
Because of the significance of this case, Your Honor, the number of charges, the severity of the charges, and the severity of the potential sentence, she stands we're concerned that she may be a flight risk based on that. We don't feel that any amount of bail would be sufficient to ensure she returns to court, given the strength of the case as well as the number of charges and or contact out of the state.
Do you have information about her financial resources?
I do not, Your Honor.
Right, thank you. Mr. Donadino, would like to be heard?
Yes, I would, Your Honor. I don't believe anything that Ms. Benoit has indicated to the court would justify treating this case in essence equivalent to a capital murder case where bail is denied altogether. As the DA has conceded, Ms. Linton has no prior criminal history. They're pointing to a traffic collision potentially a few years ago. We don't know anything about the cause of that collision or any details. The DA has not presented any of that today, whether anyone was even injured in that traffic collision. The DA has commented on the strength of the case, and yet the way this case has been charged, I think, renders that claim somewhat suspect. What we do know so far with the limited discovery is that in the top screen that was performed on Ms. Linton, it came up negative for drugs or for alcohol. And there is no indication that she would flee the jurisdiction. She, in fact, does work. She's been referred to as a traveling nurse, but she works here locally in Los Angeles, lives here locally in Los Angeles. The designation as a traveling nurse is simply a nurse who is able to find work and work in the nursing capacity in different jurisdictions. That is not an indication that she will flee. I will also add that, and again, just respectfully to the court, to the DA, we don't contest the harm that was caused in this case. But the harm and potential sentence, I don't believe, justify denying her bail altogether. It would seem an inappropriate action, motivated maybe by media attention more than anything else, but otherwise untethered from the considerations that court would typically consider in this case. So we are objecting to that request.
All right, and how long has she been in the Los Angeles area working?
Approximately 1 year, Your Honor.
Does she have family or other local ties?
She is, Your Honor. In fact, her sister is present in court today.
Her sister resides in Los Angeles?
Yes.
And with respect to the people's request for no bail, the offenses that are charged are capital offenses.
Are they? I didn't know.
I'm sorry, strike that. That is incorrect. So with respect, they're non-capital offenses, so therefore they potentially are bailable. But they are asking for that no bail be set. And could you argue further as to why bail should be set?
Yes, absolutely, Your Honor. As I indicated before in the request to continue the arraignment, plus considering also the absence of the use of any illicit or controlled substances in this case, it is becoming more and more evident as our investigation continues that this is an incident, an episode that was caused in large part by documented profound mental health issues that Ms. Linton has been suffering from over a period of years. We're in the process of gaining that information. In fact, the defense, as this information came to light, took the unprecedented step to share that information with the prosecution prior to the filing decision that they just recently announced this afternoon, in large part because we were trying to answer the question of, we know what happened, but why it happened. And given that this is pointing towards a mental health issue, an issue of illness, versus any kind of propensity for violence or antisocial behavior, Ms. Linton can appropriately be treated and housed outside of a custodial environment in a way that would not render her a threat to herself or anyone in the public. In fact, her family has already begun to identify hospitals and locations that would take her where she could receive the treatment that she needs much better than she would in custody.
However, whether her mental health issues whether she engaged in intentional conduct that was purposeful or her mental health issues led to this, the danger to the public remains. And she's a nurse, right?
Correct.
So arguably should have been aware of her limitations and yet still got behind the wheel. With respect to the amount of bail, if the court were to set monetary bail, do you want to be heard as to her ability to pay?
Well, yes, Your Honor, it's certainly in the amount that has been suggested, or that would be suggested by the bail schedule. She would not have the ability to meet that amount. I believe the schedule is something in the vicinity of $12 million, and she would not have the ability to pay that.
What is an amount that she reasonably could pay?
She could reasonably post $300,000 bail.
After consideration of the facts presented by both sides, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence that no non-financial condition will reasonably assure the state's interest in victim or public safety. For instance, the court does not believe house arrest would be sufficient here. And if there are mental health issues, sometimes people on house arrest will still leave and still continue to engage in behaviors that are dangerous to the public. You can also disable an ankle monitor. And the court does not believe at this time adequate, less restrictive conditions have been presented to the court. You indicated they're looking into hospitals for families. There may be changing circumstances down the road, but at this time, there are not less restrictive conditions that the court believes would be sufficient to protect public safety or frankly to ensure the defendant's appearance. She is facing potentially a very lengthy sentence were she to be found guilty, and the court does share the concern of the people as to her being a flight risk, especially considering although she is temporarily working here, Los Angeles is not her home base. She may have some family here, but this is not her primary residence, it sounds. So with respect to the amount of bail, $300,000 is the amount you said that she'd be able to afford. The court does not find that would be sufficient to protect the public or to ensure her return to court. Under Humphrey and Brown, the court would conclude by clear and convincing evidence that preventive detention is warranted in this case. So in other words, no bail. The court orders no bail set in this matter. And I advise Ms. Linton, you have the right and obligation to be personally present for future court proceedings. The trial, preliminary hearing, or other proceeding will proceed without you. If you refuse to be personally present, you have the right to remain silent during the trial, preliminary hearing, or other proceeding. Your absence from the trial, preliminary hearing, or other proceeding will constitute a voluntary waiver of any constitutional or statutory right to confront witnesses against you or to testify on your own behalf. Your counsel will be present for the trial, preliminary hearing, or other proceeding. And Mr. Donahue, anything further?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. In light of the court's ruling, we would ask that the court calendar a bail review for next Monday.
All right, so that will be Monday, August the 15th.
Correct.
That will be set in Department 30 on August 15th. And so Ms. Linton is ordered out. Anything further from the people?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Butler. How does he defend? I don't know what the rule is on that. Yeah.
It's eligible for ADP that can put it out. It's a discretionary.
Not opposed to war. Okay.
That's it. I'm going to call them.